I be like, thank God it's Monday. I get back to work. Hey.
What is going on, guys? This is the Empowered People Podcast, Tuesday Tune-Up, where you know what we're going to do. We're going to tell more stories, give less advice. I'm your host, Josh Levin, and thanks a ton for tuning in. Man, it's the Tuesday after Mother's Day weekend. I hope you had a great Mother's Day weekend. I know it's one of those holidays that's riddled with maximum joy and sadness. Okay, as one that knows sometimes your relationship with your mother maybe is non-existent, right? Maybe they passed away and this is the first Mother's Day that you spent without them. Maybe you're a mother that lost a kid. Maybe you're a mother that's tried to be a mother for year after year and you've been, riddled with infertility, man. So I'm super sorry. I realize this is maybe one of the biggest holidays that's also marked with sadness, but I also want to say, shout out to the badass mothers out there that are just freaking rocking it. You make all the babies. You raise so many kids. Your work is tireless. It's so hats off, man. Hope it was good. We tried to make it good. I love that my kids, when I take them shopping, bro, well, it probably helps that they're not using their money, but they want to go all out. They want to buy mom everything. And I have to be like, yo, bro, this debit card is attached to our bank account. I can't, the money's kind of real unless you're into Dogecoin like this guy. Money's real. But so anyways, hope you had a good weekend. If you didn't, man, I'm sorry. Keep your head up, keep moving forward. Derek, stop kicking the camera. Yeah, you kicked the camera, bro. But guys, so anyways, this weekend was really eventful for me, not just because of Mother's Day, but I got to see some really good friends of mine, Brandon and Rachel Peck. Two of the most amazing people I've ever met in my entire life. We're not extremely close anymore just because life is busy, but it's one of those times that every time you see him, it's super awesome, except for this time. And I just kind of wanted to just tell you, because their love story is almost like it's got to be a Nicholas Sparks book, dude. It's just so Notebook-esque, and I play a huge part in it. I might play the most crucial part in it because I matchmake them. Well, I didn't matchmake them, but I introduced them, right? So I've told the story. I worked at Hy-Vee in the kitchen when I was 15 years old. I was joking that it's the only job that I quit and never came back. Not Hy-Vee, because I loved Hy-Vee. It was when I got the interview at Hy-Vee. I left a job, went and got the interview, got the job, and then never went back to, sorry, I just got to say it, Porter's Hardware. Porter's Hardware was the most boring job I ever had in my high school career. Literally no customers came in. I just sat there at the cashier stand. This is pre-phone, pre-YouTube, right? So didn't even have a Nokia phone to play the snake game on. Just sat there at the cash register, not doing anything, and was like, I'm going to die. So left there, got the interview at Hy-Vee, got the job, never went back. I don't even think I went back and picked up my last paycheck. I was like, screw that place. I don't want to be there. So at Hy-Vee, I worked in the kitchen, and my buddy Brandon Peck, I met him early on, worked in the seafood department. Shout out to the seafood department. Seafood and meat at Hy-Vee pays the most out of any department in Hy-Vee. I don't know why. I don't know how, but I know if you're a 15, 16-year-old and you're looking to get a job at Hy-Vee, don't be a bag boy. All right? Don't work in customer service. Don't work in the kitchen. The salad bar, I don't even know if that's still a thing, dude. COVID, sneeze guard, no salad bar. Did that whole department get fired? What happened to them? They're getting carts. So get in the meat or seafood department. So anyways, so Brandon worked there. We became friends, and I would have friends always pop in. Man, the Liberty Hy-Vee is just hopping, and Rachel Smith at the time would always come in and say hi. We went to the same church together. She's really good friends with my wife, Bridget. Way back in the day, we were all good friends. So she'd come in and we'd just chat and stuff like that. And one day I remember I'm walking back. I would work other shifts and stock yogurt or something. And we were walking by the seafood department. And I was like, hey, Brandon, I want you to meet my friend Rachel. And bro, I'm talking Bambi. I'm talking deer in the headlights. Brandon walks over oh my gosh, glazed over eyes, hi, my name's Brandon. And she's like, what the weirdo? And I'm like, Brandon, stop being weird, dude. And so we walk off. I come back and Brandon's like, that's the most beautiful woman I've ever seen in my life. And I'm like, Rachel's a pretty girl. But we're friends. I'm like, Rachel? And he's like, oh my gosh, right? And that was the start of it. The start of his just unquenchable infatuation, not creepy, not like that what's that Netflix show, You? Not You, okay? Not that. But just this love at first sight, dude. In Hy-Vee at the seafood counter, he's sold. And so they eventually start talking. They become friends, and he asked her on a date. And Brandon's a little bit older than us, maybe 2 or 3 years, right? So he got a car, and he takes her on a date. It was not a nice car. That's a whole other story. It was a disgusting car, but it's a car. And they start dating, and quickly Rachel had not been in the dating game, kind of like Bridget. She was never really into boys, so she's like on again, off again. I don't know if I want to date you. God says no. I kiss dating goodbye. Maybe we could go on a date, but can you take me to prom as long as you pay? One of them high school nonsense things. And it spills over into college. And finally, when she goes to college, man, Rachel is a very driven, very independent, very like go, go, go kind of person. And she's like, hey man, I need to live my life. I can't be tethered down. I'm gonna do my thing. And I don't mean acting wild or anything, but like she's gonna live her life. She's gonna pursue her dreams and her career. She doesn't know if she wants to be a wife. She doesn't know if she wants to be a mom. She wants to do her thing. So she moves on, right? Brandon never does. Like Brandon, since forever, dude, right, loves Rachel. For 5 years of not dating, for 5 years of Rachel dating other people, bringing other people to our wedding. Awkward encounter, right? When you're making your guest list in the wedding, think about exes, right? Don't sit them at the same table. But so she moves on. Brandon never really does. And Brandon he's not like some dead puppy dog. Like he's built his career. He's an amazing person. I remember he was going to be like a college professor. He's a history major, writing huge dissertations, brilliant guy. And as he's like, wanting to get a teaching certificate, he got to student teach as a special ed teacher, absolutely fell in love with the special ed kids. Like this is before baseball cards were popping. He was like out buying Pokemon cards and WWF cards and like trading like good behavior for Pokemon cards. And like, dude, he's just one of the most generous, caring, awesome dudes you'd ever meet in your life. And Rachel is also, and she's kind of, living her thing. And I don't know exactly career path, but she's pursuing it. And one day, 5 years after they've broken up, 5 years after they're not talking, all that kind of stuff, she comes over to our house. Me and Bridget, we're married. And she says, hey, I have a weird question for you guys. And we're like, yeah, what's up? And she goes, could you give me Brandon's phone number? And I said, excuse me? Like, what? Like, huh? Like, give you Brandon's phone number? Why? Like, do you have a hoodie you found from high school or something? Like, why are you trying to get a hold of Brandon? And she goes, I think I'm in love with him. Bro, I'm talking the reverse of matchmaker, Fiddler on the Roof, matchmaker, make me a match. I was like, hell no, Rachel. I ain't giving you his number. You done broke that man's heart not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5 LeBron James type of times. Stay away from him. And she's like, no, man, I can't. Like the way he loves me, the way he treated me, the way he pursued me, like I think I have feelings for him. And I'm like, Rachel, I need you to like pray about this. I need you to fast about this. I need you to like really dig deep and pull out your journals on this type of thing, because like you can't lead this man on again. You can't just tether this dude along. And she's like, I'm in love with him. Long story short, I don't know if I gave her his number. Like she probably Facebook messaged him or something, right? But they end up start dating. They end up getting serious. They end up getting engaged and married. And it blows my freaking brain. And everyone there, like, yes, it's an amazing story and Rachel loves Brandon, but everyone there is like so pumped for Brandon because this dude shot his shot. From day one, he's like called his shot, dude. He's like, Rachel, pointing out Babe Ruth style. Everybody's like, nah, dude, focus over here. Nope. This is what I want. And he went and got it. And my wife, Bridget, I remember at their wedding was just like, dude, there's just something about a guy that loves you that it's just hard to say no to. She knows because like I went after her. And so anyways, it was just a really fun, fun love story. It was a fun to see from the outside. And dude, very unconventional dating path, also very unconventional parenting path. They decided right when they got married, he had a love for special ed kids. She was like a youth pastor, had a heart for like helping kids grow up in great situations. And they decided they were going to go all in on fostering. And I don't mean like the cool people, like, which I've even been guilty of, where it's like, maybe I should foster. Like, that sounds like fun. We should do that. Like, that'd be cool. No, they like dove head over heels. Like, yo, give us all the kids, not the cute new little baby. Give us the 9-year-old, the 11-year-old, the 13-year-old. Give us us the broken kids, right? I say that in quotes if you're listening on the podcast. I'm saying they weren't in it for themselves. They were in it to like spread love, to overflow joy, to try to be there for people, to open up their hearts and their lives and their houses in an amazing way. And they didn't take one or two or three. I mean, they took like four. I think they might even had more foster kids at certain times. And some of those foster kids became adopted children, right? They like actually adopted them. They went through the process and made them part of their family permanently. And one of their kids, Caleb, they got him when he was 13 years old, ended up adopting him. And this kid was awesome, man. It was 13. I think it was 7 years ago. He's 20 years old. And the reason that Caleb and Brandon and Rachel are so on my mind is because I went and I hugged Brandon and Rachel this weekend at Caleb's funeral. So it was a very, very sad moment, a very like heartbreaking moment to put a 20-year-old kid that they chose to love, that they chose to open themselves up to put him in the ground. And it's just super sad, dude. We went to the funeral and it was packed. I'm sorry. Like, you could be like COVID sensitive or whatever. Like, this place was packed. And this place was packed because of how loving and caring Rachel and Brandon were. I think a lot of people were there for them. They've just impacted so many people, both young and old, both shoulder-to-shoulder peers in such an amazing way. In times of heartache, you want to be there for your friends. And one of the greatest pieces of advice I'd ever got was, hey, man, you can miss a birthday. Don't ever miss a funeral. You can miss a birthday. Don't ever, ever miss a funeral. And so we didn't miss it. Me and Bridget and all four of our kids went and listened to friend after friend after friend and youth pastor and teacher and choir director get up there and tell these amazing heartfelt stories about hanging out super late at night and playing Fortnite, and them talking about whether or not people's opinions of you matter. And we heard, funny, goofy stories about freaking goofy games called gentleman wrestling or football or whatever. Just all these like very unique personal stories about Caleb's impact on these friends' lives. And, it was just very, very emotional. And it really got me realizing as I was sitting there and all of them were saying, Caleb, I love you. Caleb, I'll miss you. It really reminded me that like a lot of us live our lives just thinking, like never thinking that we're going to go to that friend's funeral. We never think that sibling is going to die. We never think that coworker is going to die. We think that grandma and mom and dad are always going to be there. And so the conversations that we should have of, hey man, when you took me to lunch and you talked to me about, my kids acting crazy and asking about my family, hey man, that meant a lot to me. Thank you. We put off those compliments of, man, I've been watching you from a distance and I'm so thankful for the way that you have handled your situation. You've handled this stress. Dude, 2020 was hard for you. I saw you lose your job and struggle with not knowing if you're going to be able to provide for your family, but you didn't cry and moan and groan. You put your pants on and you got your ass to work and you provided for your family. Dude, that's so honorable. Thank you so much. And even being so awkward as to say, dude, I love you. Hey, I love you. Like, I know our relationship isn't perfect. I know maybe we haven't talked in years. I know that I hurt you deeply and it breaks my heart. I just want to tell you I'm sorry and I love you. Not that it's okay, not that glosses over thing, but think about those words. I love you. I know I talked to my brother-in-laws quite a bit on the phone. And at the end, it's always awkward. It's awkward with my Uncle Dale. I don't know if it's a guy thing. I don't know what it is. But at the end, before you say goodbye, sometimes, you say like, I love you, bye. And you say it like that, like very quick, right? Because it makes you feel weird. Nothing feels weirder than sitting at a funeral wishing you would have said something to that person sitting in a casket. It might give you closure, but it's never going to give you joy and happiness, right? And so I don't mean this to be a grim podcast. I don't mean this to be sad in any way. I'm sick of living my life with any regrets whatsoever that I might have not said what I needed to say. And so just being very practical with you guys as I wrap this up. So that was on Saturday, right? And I coached my little kids at baseball. Craziness, right? Why do I coach a sport I never played, dude? Next season, I'm coaching soccer. I'm going to coach swimming. I'm going to teach them how to butterfly. You just flop in the water and go nowhere. That's what I did. I tried butterfly. It didn't freaking work at all. But, I've shared about, my relationship with my mom. it's not the most perfect. There's a lot of pain and a lot of scars and a lot of like built up crap from my past. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go back to episode 1 and start listening there, right? There's a lot of garbage in my heart, but it's Mother's Day. And is Mother's Day about me? Would I regret if she was put in the ground that I didn't say, hey man, I love you. Hey man, I'm rooting for you. Hey, you did your best, even though it kind of sucked. You did your best. I'm thankful that you didn't abort me. I'm thankful you didn't give me up. I'm thankful you gave me life. Would I regret not saying those things? So awkwardly enough, on Mother's Day, right at 1 o'clock, I freaking text her. I invite her out to lunch. And guess what? We had a good time. I brought Corey, Little Miss Life of the party, my 4-year-old daughter. Well, sorry, not 4, 5. 5-year-old daughter just like steals the show, tells about getting her ears pierced and all sorts of fun things. And it was an awesome encounter with my mom. It was a great encounter. And I didn't do that. So let me just be clear. I didn't do that to share this on the podcast, right? So don't get that idea at all. But I did that because like life is short, man. Life is precious. And I think like at the end, you don't want to have regrets. You don't want to just have a good eulogy speech. You want to have a good memory. And that good memory is going to require you being courageous, taking the first step, saying I love you. It's going to feel awkward, but I think it's worth it.
Hey, shine like gold. They don't want story, man. They want the soundbite. I'm like, no, look around like they see you on the mountain, they don't see you on the climb.